Namaste, guys. Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Friday evening here in Denver, Colorado. It is 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. We're jumping on for a daily dose of growth. Challenge is designed to grow your soul and help you become a better person. Let me adjust this a little bit to make sure my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Kuksui, is included. Perfecto. And we have a special, Karen, Namaste. We have a special guest, Jessica, Namaste, joining us on our live stream. Eric, the barbecue king of Massachusetts. What's going on, stud? So, some of you have been wondering what this surprise was. We talked about it a little bit a few days ago. I've known about it for a week now. And it's been 25 years in the making. So when I was young, I grew up around animals, lots and lots of animals. Joanna, Namaste. I grew up around puppies. I grew up around kittens. I grew up around birds. I grew up around horses. I grew up around animals. And the last time I had an animal that was mine, he left the body when he was about 8, when I was 17 years old. So I remember, Suresh, Namaste. I remember my, so some of you may be familiar with the personal training certification. It's like the highest of the high certifications that you can get within the world of personal training. You actually have to get a 4-year degree to get this certification. And it's called ACSM. I think it's called the ACSM Trainer Program. It's American College of Sports Medicine, which you don't have to go anywhere to take it, but you have to have a 4-year degree related to exercise science, exercise physiology, health and fitness, and then you can take this exam. So it's like the pinnacle. So I was prepping for that exam and taking it in Austin, Texas. That a boy, Suresh. I took it in Austin, Texas. And on the way from landing in Austin, Texas from Massachusetts, my dad informed me that they brought my dog in, found out what his condition was, and he had cancer, and it had metastasized or spread throughout his entire body, and it was malignant. It was deadly, right? Karen, relax. You're all worked up. And Karen did it too. Congratulations. I'm super proud of you. So my dad had to leave me a message. Actually, I talked to him over the phone. And as I was talking to my dad on the phone, my brothers called my dad on the other end and let them know they had brought my dog to the vet. They shared the information and they had put him down. So I was on the phone with my dad as they were putting down my first and ever pet ever. I had other pets, but I never had my own pet that I had to feed, that I had to walk, that I had to, clip his toenails, that I had to bring him to the vet, all those things. My first pet. And I have not had my own pet since that time. That's about 25 years ago. So, Tina, Namaste. So, an opportunity presented itself. You guys know I love tiny things. I love cute things. I love precious things. Good job, Jessica. I'm proud of you. Tina and Elena, I'm proud of you. Good job. As I'm talking and speaking, something's getting all worked up. So, a good friend of mine, she knows how much I care about animals. She knows how much I love teeny tiny, small, cute things. And so she says, okay, you know what I'm going to do? Come here, sweetheart. I'm going to get you... Come here. I'm going to get you a bunny for your birthday. So my birthday is June 3rd, and I just picked up my bunny today. She's 8 weeks old. She's super teeny tiny. She's a half dwarf bunny, and she's a half, what's the other kind of bunny you are? You're a Holland Lop bunny. So she's not going to get much bigger than this. She's super teeny tiny, and she relaxes in my lap like it's her job. Doesn't go anywhere. She just sits in my lap, lets me pet her. She doesn't jump around. She doesn't get all squirrely. Look at her cute little face. And her little tiny nose never stops. Oh yeah, she's too cute. For show. Harita, Namaste. So, have her little thing over here to the side. Right? Isn't it adorable? We have her food off to the side. We have all of her little stuff off to the side. She's all jacked up. I say we because I'm so used to saying we, like me and the great ones, me and the teacher. We are one, right? And Denise, I'm a namaste. And the reason I picked her over the 4 other bunnies, actually there are 5 other bunnies, the reason I picked her is she was the only one that I was petting, and she remained calm. She was cool, calm, collected. She's so soft. You're super teeny tiny. She hasn't had anything to drink yet. I have her water. She hasn't had anything to eat yet. I have food over there. Drove an hour and 20 minutes back. Karen's all worked up. I drove her an hour and 20 minutes back, right? 3 minutes before we get into the house, she peed all over my leg. Peed right through my shorts, right through my underwear. It actually got on the car seat. She's all jacked up. And so guess what her name is? Her name is not Tiny Ears. It smells like a bunny. Her name is Mani. Her name is Mani. So you guys might know the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani. Mani means jewel. It's actually the blue pearl in the center of the head for spiritual purposes. And so I'm calling her Mani because she's my little jewel that I have to take care of and shine and protect because she's super, super precious. This is so tiny. This is super tiny. And she has one ear that's up and one ear that's down, because sometimes their ears grow down, sometimes their ears grow up. She's going to actually have one ear that goes up and one ear goes down. So she's going to be a free range bunny. So she can go wherever she wants, right? In the house, in the apartment. I have a cage for her, but I'm not going to keep her in the cage. And then because there's a weird, oh yeah, she's super calm. She's being held by me. Of course she's going to be calm. Hello. So there's a bunny virus that came from Mexico. There's insects that came from Mexico that's come into the United States that affects bunnies. So she can't be outside. So she has to be inside all the time, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But her nails are long, right? I'm going to cut them probably another month or so. Her nails are long. You don't cut them when they're little. They're so sharp, it's like tiny razor blades. Like when she moves quickly, it's like aggressive. Oh, and here's a funny story. I know, guys, we're getting to the challenge. Don't worry. I'm just celebrating this moment. After 25 years, haven't had a pet. And bunnies live to about 10 years, even tiny dwarf bunnies. And so have this whole apartment for her to walk around in, right? This entire apartment. And she can't jump high yet. So guess where she goes? Right where I sit. So she went right under the part that I sit when I'm not in this chair. The whole apartment. And she just goes right under there. And it's not like there's a special spot. There's a ventilation or sun or anything. Just right under where I sit. We've already bonded. Oh, she's already jacked up. Gosh, now you made me want one. Thank goodness Olivia can't see this. Don't worry, I'll tag her because her and I are friends on Facebook. So I'll tag her, she'll watch the video, and then she'll get all worked up. Mom, can we get a dwarf bunny? Remember, she's a half dwarf bunny. She's not a full dwarf bunny. But, she's separated from her parents today. She's separated from her siblings today. And then she also, there were dogs that she was mixing it up with. So she went from lots of activity and warmth and sweetness from her siblings, and now she's just with me. But everyone wants to come over and say hi to her. Mani. So that's it, guys. I wanted to give you a little love from my heart to your heart, and from her teeny tiny heart through me to you. She's so soft. I never knew how soft a bunny could actually be. They're so soft. Christy, Atma Namaste. So now I'm going to put her back in my lap. Didn't move the whole time. All jacked up. So what was our challenge for today? For those of you who said, I did it or we did it, congratulations. For those of you who said, I didn't do it, I haven't seen that. Make sure every time you jump on the evening stream, you go, I did it, I didn't do it, I did it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. The reason we say that is so you take accountability and you have awareness. Speaking of, other than getting a bunny, did healings today, was helping a friend going through relationship problems. Again, that was very interesting. There's a leak in my apartment that's leaking down into the neighbor's apartment below me. So he actually came up earlier today to knock on my door to say, hey, do you have a leak going on? Because I have water leaking into my apartment. And I'm like, I don't think so. But I was hearing a leak or like a dripping, but I was thought, oh, it's just normally dripping. It drips occasionally. It's a sink, right? I open it up. There's like a half inch of water. I'm like, this is very strange. So the emotional body is connected to water, right? And when there's things going on in your emotional life, it affects the physical world. It's called the principle of correspondence, right? So as I'm emotionally processing things, my physical environment is emotionally processing things. So I put in a service order, I have insurance, blah, blah, blah. It's not a big deal. It is what it is. Jillian, namaste. It is what it is. Not a problem, right? But so there's been a lot of things happening today, and I'm still in my Saturn period. I have about, another 10 days in my Saturn period, and then I'll be out, footloose and fancy-free. Joanna says, so happy for you and seeing the way you adore her. Ah, thanks, Joanna. Denise says, I did it for 5 minutes, kept getting interrupted. Interesting. Okay, so I did it, believe I got where I was supposed to. I kept seeing a white dove when I said, what is left twice? Interesting. Okay, we'll cover that in a minute. That's a beautiful experience. So I don't know if I did it right. Maybe it means peace is left. Oh, snap. What's up, peace is left? Okay. What else? What was your feedback or awareness before the challenge, during the challenge, and after the challenge? What happened for you? Before, during, and after. So Suresh says it was difficult at first. Interesting. Had some thoughts, repeated, I'm not the body, not the emotions, not the thoughts, became still, felt a big sensation in my heart, good, then felt my body becoming bright, then left. Great experience, did it for 30 minutes. Oh, snap. Suresh is getting after it, going from 15-minute challenges to 30-minute challenges. Tina says, I'm not sure what I was supposed to feel, but I was very relaxed. Elena said she thinks she felt she dissolved her body. Just her body or also her emotions and also her mind? I want to clarify. And you said, I'm not sure what I was supposed to feel. Nothing. One tip, not supposed to feel anything. Good, what else? What other feedback do you guys have? Excellent so far. Very, very good feedback. I notice the more I get jacked up, the more she gets jacked up. Everyone's getting jacked up. She's going to be a very evolved bunny in the next couple years. Aren't you? Before I was doubtful I could actually do it. Took a while during. Got started during a darn message, went right back to it, and afterwards kind of like, this is it. It's been 15 minutes already. Perfect. Oneness. Denise is getting it. Good job, girl. What did we talk about earlier with the Twin Hearts meditation and the purpose of meditation in general? Oneness with the higher self, oneness with God. Oneness with the higher self, oneness with God. Tina says her emotions, but hard to dissolve her mind. Anyone else experience a challenge of dissolving the mind? Christy, okay, before I had trouble and always felt breathing and the ringing in my ear got louder and louder. Okay. Good feedback. We'll cover that to the best of our ability in this stream. What else? Any other feedback that you guys want to share? Any other awareness? Again, for those of you logging on for the first time, the challenge was very simple. Very simple, right? They're always very simple. You put 15 minutes on your phone. You take your right hand, cross it over and touch your navel. Take your left hand, put it on top of your right hand. Close your eyes and dissolve your physical body. Then you dissolve your emotional body. Then you dissolve your mental body. And then you ask, what's left? Or notice or become aware of what's left. Jessica says the mind was hard. Yes. Joanna says, at first, after being busy all day, I was not sure if I could do this. I was a little nervous at first. Great awareness. Turning it into breathing a little fast at first, then my breathing slowed down. Excellent. I felt my hands disappear first, then the rest of me was peaceful, but my hands slipped a couple times, but I was able to become peaceful quickly. Then my timer went off. I was sad it was over. Very good feedback. Jessica says, did I have Pain tried to interrupt, had to remind myself, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, and it went away. Aha, very, very good. Excellent. Excellent. Super, super good. Okay. So that seems like enough feedback that we can dive into a little bit of higher teachings around that. So this practice is one of the highest practices that we can perform as human souls. What is it the practice of? It is practicing oneness with the higher self and oneness with God, oneness with all. How do we begin practicing oneness? By realizing what we are not. By realizing what we are not. Meaning, I'm going to say, we are not our physical body. We are not our emotional body where we have our feelings. We're not our mental body where we have our thoughts. We are the soul. And this was taught by Grandmaster Chogo Koksui and all great teachers for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You can even look in the Bhagavad Gita, which is over 5,000 years old, a Hindu text that refers to the same thing. The soul, the I am, is all that there is, and everything else is a product of the I am. So we were told, or we were instructed by one of the masters in pranic healing, not to give out the I am the soul publicly. On Facebook right now, this is a public forum. Anyone can come in and watch the video. Anyone can leave. If they get just a sampling of this without the deeper teachings and understandings behind it, it could be detrimental to them. It could be not so good for their spiritual growth and development. That's why we try to keep the challenges very clear, self-contained, and not too advanced. Even though practicing the simple version of sitting, placing the hands on the navel, and being aware of the body dissolving, the emotions dissolving, the mind dissolving, and realizing what's left is extraordinarily advanced, right? Just like the Twin Hearts meditation is a very advanced meditation that the ordinary person can practice, receive a lot of benefit, and as they continue to practice, more things will be revealed to them in the inner world and in the outer world. So there was a great, great teacher by the name of Ramana Maharishi, who was a great teacher in the late 1800s, and I believe he left the body in the 1960s. He didn't live very long in the physical body, but he was a master of the I am. He was a master of the I am. Why the navel? For now, we'll just say that's the technique. Good question. For now, we'll just say that's the technique. Okay? So, this teacher, all he would practice and all he would teach and all he would preach was, I am that I am. And it's the realization, it's not the understanding of like, okay, intellectually, give me the mental framework. Remember we talked about it's hard to get out of the mind? Give me the mind understanding. Give me the mind understanding. What does this whole I am the soul thing even mean? No, it has to be experienced to be understood. It cannot be mentally understood. So that's why when you're practicing, I'm not the body dissolves. I'm not the emotions dissolve. I'm not the mind dissolves. What is left? The soul. So Karen is saying, hold on everyone, I want to keep somewhat in order here. It felt really good to put my hands on the navel. There's a reason for that. It was super soothing and I felt this loving energy all over like I was healing through my navel. Yes, excellent. Very, very good awareness, Karen. I was in bliss and then I fell asleep. That sounds about right. So this teacher, basically all he taught his students was I am that I am. I am that I am. Even a book that was written by one of his students is I am. You can look him up, Ramana Maharishi. And he obtained his enlightenment when he was 16 years old. That's very, very advanced. He obtained samadhi, or oneness, at 16 years old without a teacher. That's extraordinarily advanced if you understand how the teacher-disciple relationship works, how evolution works, what it takes to have oneness with the higher soul. That's extraordinarily advanced. in a very short period of time, 16 years old. And one of his practices was, for lack of a better way of saying it, was what would be left if I was no longer in my body? What would be left? So he laid down one day on his bed and he pretended to stop breathing. And what would happen if he just held his breath as though he was dying, right? Because if you're dead, you're not breathing, right? And through that simple practice, I don't recommend this to everyone. Through that simple practice, he was able to achieve samadhi. He was able to achieve oneness with his higher self. Now, granted, this is from a soul who had had many incarnations of purification to reach that point as a 16-year-old to achieve samadhi or oneness. And then he was in such a state of bliss, such a state of ecstasy, that he ended up finding a local ashram or holy center, and he sat out in front of the ashram for 3 years. And the local townspeople noticed this young boy just sitting in the ashram, right? Oh, what's up, baby? Just sitting in the ashram. He wasn't eating. He wasn't drinking water. He wasn't resting. He was just sitting there. And he was in such a state of divine ecstasy and divine bliss that certain, what would you call them? Certain insects would cover his body and be eating at his flesh. Like little, not parasites, but little bugs, little birds, little things in the area, because if you left a decomposing corpse in the middle of the park or something like that, all the little critters are going to come around to eat and to bite at it, right? So he was in such a state of bliss, divine ecstasy, that he wasn't even aware of his physical body, right? So for 3 years, the townspeople came and fed him and gave him water, like feeding him like a baby, because he wasn't there. He was what? One with the higher soul. Right? And so he says it took him about 3 years, 3.5 years to become assimilated into his physical body. And he said later on in life, because he didn't take care of his physical body, because he wasn't in his physical body, there was, for lack of a better word saying, there was regret. He wished he would have taken care of his physical body more early on in his life. Amazing, right? And the same thing with Eckhart Tolle, another great teacher about presence, about oneness, about the I am. And all the great teachers speak and point to the I am. They have different names and different methodologies to achieve oneness with the I am, but they're all pointing at the I am. So when Eckhart Tolle in his late 20s achieved oneness, and he talks about it sitting in bed one day, being sucked down into a vortex, and then opening his eyes the next morning, and everything seemed different. The birds were chirping outside, but the sound was different. It was vibrant. It was radiatory, right? It was like, and he literally just became homeless, sat on a park bench in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I was actually in the park that he was just chilling out, and he was there for about 2.5, 3 years as well, in complete bliss. The mind, he realized the mind just is limited. The mind just has its programs, its plus, its minuses, its pros, its cons, its discernment. It's this is good, this is bad. It's labeling everything all the time, right? But when you transcend the mind, when you go beyond the mind, when you recognize that you are not that, you are the soul, he could just sit and be still. Paula, namaste. He could sit, he could be still, he could be blissed in bliss. So if you notice, if you look into the eyes, because the eyes are the windows to and of the soul, the eyes give you a good indicator of somebody's development. And I was sharing this with someone the other day, that you can only perceive somebody from your level of consciousness and lower. Meaning, an enlightened person can recognize another enlightened person. A high-level clairvoyant can recognize another high-level clairvoyant. But if you are a less developed person, you cannot necessarily see that higher level. right? So the example to give is, if you cannot see your higher soul, and I know I'm getting a little bit off track here, if you cannot see your higher soul, you cannot see the higher soul of another person. I'll say that again. If you cannot see your higher soul, if you cannot see the development of your soul, you cannot see the development of another person's soul. That's why people who met Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui in the physical body, can you believe it? People who met Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui in the physical body, the people saw him from their level of consciousness. They're like, oh, he's just an ordinary businessman. He's just a Chinese spiritual teacher that has some nuggets of truth and some nuggets of wisdom. Right? But for the more developed, intermediate, advanced, and very advanced disciple, they would look at Master Choa from a different viewpoint. Does that make sense? And that's a whole metaphor in and of itself. There's actually Namaste Maria, that's a higher level of truth from a parable from hundreds and hundreds of years ago about seeing something from that viewpoint. If you're evolved, you can see other evolved people. If you're not very evolved, you see evolved people as not very evolved. And the other interesting thing about higher states of consciousness is that higher states of consciousness are subjective. Enlightenment is a subjective experience. Right? It's a subjective experience. You can't objectively look at another person and be like, well, let's see, they have 2 eyes, 2 ears, a mouth, 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, they have a head. Okay. So what? How do I know that person's enlightened? Exactly. It's subjective. But as you go within, that's a microphone, as you go within and you connect to your own divine nature, you can see the divine nature in others. You can tell how developed another person is from your level of development. So if you're a very advanced person, right, you can look at another soul and go, that's another advanced soul. Or you can look at another soul and realize, still some growing up to do, still an immature soul, still going to make lots of mistakes, but they're on their way. And then other people, you're like, no, not ready, not there. Next lifetime, right? So that's really a fascinating way of processing. But again, connecting to the 18th challenge for today, the daily challenge of growth, or the daily dose of growth, with challenge number 18, it's you have to recognize that as you keep letting go of your attachment to the physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, you can experience your divine nature, your oneness. So, for instance, a hunter, right? A hunter in Siberia, which I actually watched a documentary on this, a hunter in Siberia would see her as a pellet, right? She wouldn't see her as a sentient being, because that's that person's level of consciousness connected to survival, right? But as we grow and evolve and become more advanced, what do we see her as? A sentient being, right? That we have love for, we have compassion for, we have understanding, we have mercy. It's interesting though, and I know many, many people like this, there are people who value her more so than they value human beings. Not appropriate, right? Because all sentient beings have worth and have value and are all beings of light, love, and power. She has a long way to go before she has oneness with God, oneness with all. But, this is her lifetime and doing the best she can, evolving and becoming brighter and brighter and brighter, right? And the Bodhisattva vow says, I will not achieve complete oneness with God until even the bacteria are archangels. Think about that. Really think about that. So a bodhisattva, which is a Lord Jesus, doesn't become fully one with God until even the bacteria are archangels. Okay? all jacked up. All right, you guys have some comments. Suresh, did MCKS then practice rooting a lot because he was one with his higher soul? Andrew, I'm going to say there's a high... the teacher's rooting is different from our rooting. I can't go into the higher aspect of that. Good question. The teacher's rooting is different than the disciple's rooting. To bless out for 3 years. To not bliss out for 3 years. Because Grandmaster Cho Koksui is a chemical engineer, and because he was a scientist, and we consider him the scientist of the soul, he would look at other great teachers, practitioners, and say, what was not what was the thing missing, but how can we reverse engineer that experience? For instance, many saints left their bodies in their mid-30s. Why? Because they were generating so much energy that they were constantly energized, and that amount of downpour of energy was too much for their their physical bodies, and that downpour deteriorated their physical bodies. So what should they have done? More physical exercise, right? Taking care of their physical body, more physical exercise, better nutrition, better sleep, right? All of these things that hundreds of years ago, it wasn't really known, it wasn't understood, it wasn't practiced. So because think about it, if you're in oneness with the higher self and you're in complete ecstatic bliss, right? Your complete ecstatic bliss, what's the need? If you're not the body, you're like, I'm not even this body. I'm a radiant being of light, love, and power, right? It's easy for us to be like, right, at our level of growth and development, it's easy for us to be like, oh, well, why can't that saint just work out? What's the big deal? There's saints all over the world that don't work out. There are guru teachers who will do Shaktipat and blessings and healings on thousands of people a day, 20 hours straight. Right? Giving darshan after darshan after darshan after darshan. I've seen videos of it. I've never had an opportunity to go to a teacher that big in India where you wait in line for a day. But I remember I saw Amma, I saw her in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I also saw her in New York City. I waited 15 hours. She's known as the Hugging Saint. I waited 15 hours to receive a hug from her, and she's like a machine. She does her invocation, and then she just hugs. In the past 30 years, they calculated the numbers that she's hugged 40 million people. 40 million people. One of my mentors said that her consciousness literally has changed the consciousness of the entire planet. Think about that. 40 million people. How many friends do we have? 10? She's cleaning her face. 10, 15 people, right? That we see regularly, maybe. Imagine multiplying that by a factor of 10 million. It's crazy. But they are one with their higher self. They're one with God, one with all. Gabriel, namaste. Gabriel Mourner is one of my mentors who I am supremely grateful for. He's given me years and years of teachings, years and years of healing. He's a great mentor of mine in New York City. So it's good to have him on. Sometimes I would get lucky and I'd get the masters on the streams, but they've been super busy with the coronavirus and all the new offerings and what have you. But great teacher of mine. Great teacher of mine. So the point is, when you become one with God, one with all, you kind of forget these things. We, as ordinary people, have the opposite problem. We are too attached to these things. So we start having physical pain and it destroys our entire life. We start to have emotional pain, anger, bitterness, fear, anxiety, depression, right? And we let that destroy our lives, right? Or we have mental disorders, we have compulsive obsessive thoughts, we lie to ourselves and we lie to others, we don't practice a virtuous life, we are over-identified with our vices because we think we're our vices. I'm a this, I'm a that. Versus, I am that I am. Versus, I am the soul. Right? So, today's practice of Challenge 18 was to give you an experience of when I'm not so identified with my body, my feelings, my thoughts, what's left? The soul. And interestingly enough, Jessica had the experience of a dove. Do you know what the dove is? Spiritual energy coming down from the soul. I still hear the dripping, the dripping, the dripping. Well, we'll see how much the water gets worked up. But it was very interesting. I thought about Ramana Maharishi and how he obtained his enlightenment at 16 years old, his samadhi, his oneness. Lori, Atma Namaste. And he basically lived the rest of his life at the base of a mountain. And he had a few animals, and he would have disciples come and go. There would be people that would travel the world. They would sit in the presence of the teacher who was radiating light, radiating consciousness, radiating stillness. And when you are in the presence of someone who is still, you experience your own nature. I'm going to say, Lori, when you are still, you give stillness to other people. Make sense? So if you want to be more devotional, hang out with someone who's devotional. If you want to be more prosperous, hang out with someone who's prosperous. If you want to have more inner peace in your meditation practice, hang around people that have a lot of inner peace in their meditation practices, right? So if you want stillness, if you want to know who and what you truly are, be in the presence of someone who knows who and what they truly are. Anna, Atma Namaste. Welcome back, girl. Tina, is Lori your sister? Suresh says, I heard from a Theosophy lecture. So Theosophy is a mystery school that started in England about 100 years ago by Madame Blavatsky. Great school, beautiful teachings. That is a kind of selfish to practice meditation only to achieve a spiritual enlightenment. Instead, you should practice with serve to help humanity, but it's not mandatory. Correct. You have to keep in mind the great teacher Ramana Maharishi did eons and eons and eons of service before achieving illumination. So in this lifetime, if we want to rapidly progress on the spiritual path, we meditate, we serve. We meditate, we serve. We meditate, we serve. That's how you speed up the process versus just doing service or just doing meditation. That's nice. So I was sharing with a friend the other day. I was like, I felt super jacked up and super excited and super blissed out, and I couldn't figure out what the factor was. I was all jacked up. I couldn't figure out what the factor was. And then it dawned on me, we had finished a very powerful stream about a topic that was near and dear to my heart a few days ago, and that's what gave me so much bliss. So when I'm sharing Master Chola's teachings or the teachings of other great teachers, energy is passing through the facilitator and they're experiencing what? The energy of that. So when you talk about bliss, what's passing through the facilitator? When you talk about inner peace, what's passing through the facilitator? When you're talking about healing, what's passing through the facilitator, right? That's how it works. It's really quite amazing. That's why it is in the giving that we receive. If you want healing, give healing to others. If you want clarity, give clarity to others. If you want to understand higher spiritual truths do what? Help other people understand higher spiritual truths. I'm just doing my best to be a practitioner of what are the great teachers' teachings. Cool, right? So do you guys have anything else? I know we ran over today. It's fine. We're celebrating a new bunny. It's all jacked up. She's like, whatever. Hasn't moved at all. Been in the exact same spot. She kind of takes her teeny tiny paws. Her name's Monty again. She takes her teeny tiny paws and kind of rubs them on my shorts. And then she kind of licks my shorts. So she's all worked up. But any other questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, join us tomorrow. We're going to be doing another stream about... she's blissed out. I was feeling her energy the week before picking up because I wanted to be connected to the right bunny, right? So I was feeling her energy, she was feeling my energy, and she's pretty blissed out. Because I can feel when her heart rate starts to go up because she hears a noise outside, and then I can feel it go down or normalize. It's really quite amazing. So join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time for another daily dose of growth, challenges designed to grow your soul and help you become a better person. And then we do our Twin Hearts meditation at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Invite people, bring on. The bigger the group, what? The more energy available. That's why I appreciate you guys sharing it on your Facebook pages. I appreciate you bringing people into your own practice. There's probably, 4 of you that bring other people into your practices. So it's great. I appreciate that. I can still hear the dripping. And that's it, guys. So I will let you go. I guess her and I are just going to chill out. It's going to be a relaxing evening. It's been a super busy day. Lots of things going on. But I love you guys very, very much. May God and my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, bless each and every one of you with divine light, divine love, divine power. May each and every one of you have any and all obstacles, impediments in the way of you realizing your true self be dissolved, disintegrated, absorbed by the divine light. Now, may you be blessed with clarity. May you be blessed with understanding. May you be blessed with oneness. So be it, and so it is. Indiana, namaste. You're late to the party, girl. I'm so blissed out of my mind right now. Good night, Jessica. Enjoy your beautiful fur baby. Now I'm a physical dad and an animal dad. Like a human dad and an animal dad. Have a wonderful and blessed evening. Much love to all. Aw, that's nice. Have an amazing day. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, beautiful weekend, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. I've never done this group. Well, you better watch the replay. Someone wants to say goodbye to everyone. Hold on. Come here, baby. Ta-da! Monty wants to say goodbye. Goodbye! That's not really her voice. I'm a horrible ventriloquist. Love you guys very much. She's all like, what? And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.